everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to Kit Krunch time and another start to finish layout. Always love doing start to finish layout, my favorite thing, because you get to create a page, absolutely. So what I'm going to do in this Kit Krunch is that I'm going to play with the more blues and teals because last week I did with the more pink and yellow. So just a little bit of a variety. Plus I want to play with this kit starter. So with this, you would think that this is vintage, but I'm absolutely going to do something nautical because you do see that representation of water. Even though it has butterflies and botanicals and feather, this type of image you can use for anything. And that's what I'm going to do. We're going to talk about the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, Maryland. So that's what I'm going to scrapbook today. So I wanted to show a little bit more about my process and how do I start, because here's the kit, here's the supplies. You saw how I put that together. Now what do I do when I sit down to scrap? And so these are my kit starters, so they won't be too far. Of course, you know I'm going to use those blues. Beautiful pink fresh. They have wonderful enamel dots. Okay, so that is something I'm not going to put too far to my side. So when I sit down to do this, the first thing I do is I look at my photos, and I was just thinking to myself today, if I had my photos printed and organized, I could whip out pages left and right because photos is always what takes me the longest, because I either have to go print them or I don't have them organized in the way I want them to be. So yes, if I had all of my photos printed and organized chronological or by topic, I'm not sure how I would do that. Man, I could sit here and just whip them out left and right. But photos, I think that's why people give up scrapbooking. Because of this right here, photos, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I do. I already know I'm going to play with this, and I know I'm going to record the story about the Inner Harbor. Of course, I thought the colors just looked, it just reminded me of that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate my photos. So in this grouping, I know I have some that have a matte and some that is not matted, you know, with that margin, because that's just the way I printed them. And I also have wallets. So that is how I will simply start, as that I will see what I have duplicates, and then I see what size I have. So these are all matted. These are wallets, and I'm just sorting photos. And so I haven't even decided on my papers. I haven't decided on a sketch. I'm just working from the beginning. And for me, that's photos. And because I need to see what I'm working with first before I can even decide anything else. And that is not matted and matted. Okay, so let's see what we have for matted, because these may just be duplicates. So I know I have that, so that can go to the side. And I have my little one with that anchor. So this is process of elimination. I don't have another one of that. I have two of those. And I already can tell you, I like them. They look like in the postcard form, which is the mood and feel of this vintage paper. And then let's see if I don't need that in a 4x6, but I have it in a wallet. I think I may even have that, or I don't even need that. I really don't. I have this. So again, this is something else in my process. Do I need this 4x6 photo? It's not the best shot, but it's my little one. I have the representation right here. This is a better photo. I don't have to include both of them. So again, less amount of photos increases your process time. And then I do have some wallets. And I don't know if I'll use them because I have 6 here. That's a good representation. But I will tell you, when you have extras you're not going to use, there's elements within your photos that you can punch down and use as embellishments. So I'm going to keep that to the side. That's not completely gone yet. So I have 6 photos. So now what do I do next? I now separate them into orientation. So we have horizontal. So we have 3 and 3. 3 vertical and 3 horizontal. So you know I'm already going to work with a 2-page spread. So that is how I start. Because if I didn't have that many, I would have just did a 1-page layout. So now I know I'm going to have a 2-page spread. And of course, I don't have 2 papers of anything in this kit. So that means we're going to stretch papers. So with these, I will now take my focal photo, which will be this right here. Oh, I love close-ups like that. I never tire of that. No. And I will tell you, if you want to get better at taking photos, just keep snapping away. Take 86 pictures and you may get 2 that you like. That's just the way it is for anybody. Absolutely. I love that. I love it with this Kaiser craft paper. Now, what is the B side of this? Of course, you know Kaisercraft is made in Australia. That is just ho-hum, but that is a nice branding strip at the bottom. And so to go with these, this was the grouping of papers I had. We have some black, and we have that aqua and teal, newspaper, print, vintage. Oh yes, we got all of this going on. But now you see I don't have two of anything. So basically we're going to be taking papers and stretching them from either in that 6 by 12 size or smaller and spanning them. So of course I am going to use some white cardstock, so that's in my pile. I'm good to go. So then the next step is deciding on the papers. My photos are decided. I know I'm using a white background. These are the papers. So I might as well get rid of the rest of the pile and just eliminate something. Right? So I've eliminated some photos. I've eliminated some paper. Now, do I need a sketch? I really don't think so, because like I said, I only have one of each one of these papers. So I'm basically going to have to cut everything down. I don't really need a sketch. No. And then also too, you notice with my photos, what did I say I had? I had 3 horizontal and 3 verticals. So you know they're going to have to go in this orientation. On the left, 2 verticals, or 2 horizontal and a vertical. On the right, 2 horizontal, or 2 vertical and a horizontal. Did I say that right? Oh, yeah. So I'm going to do 2 and 2. 2 horizontal and 1 vertical, and then 2 vertical and 1 horizontal, if that made sense. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it like that. So there's my left, there's my right. Maybe not in that exact order. So now let's play with paper. So I already know that this is my main piece of paper. So that's going to basically be cut in half. I already decided. Left and right, 6 inches. Okay, so now what do I want to go with this? I'm going to skip this flower. I have diagonal stripe. That'll be good. Oh, this is pretty. This is pretty. This is pretty. Man, it's pretty. This is so pretty you don't even need. I guess I have that upside down. This is so pretty you don't even need a photo. Or you could do little mini wallets or tell some stories. Or this is just pretty. This could be for random memories. That is Bo Bunny in Life in Color. 2017. That's ho-hum, but that is really gorgeous. I'm going to be using that for embellishment, so that's a go. And then what else do I have? Okay, so 6 by 12. And so in my mind, I'm building this layout because I don't have a sketch. This is going to be a little piece of paper. Okay, now there we go. Because this is to do with nautical, but this, you know, this is an older ship. I'm going to consider it older. I don't know anything about it, but hey, we're going to wing it. So right there is half and half. So we're going to just do strips of paper. There's embellishments, diagonal. That is pretty. We're going to skip this one. Skip this one. And let's see. I think I'm just going to play with these 4. Right there's my focal photo. And I like that arrangement. This looks a little too country. And this looks a little too... I don't like that green. So right there's my 4 papers. Plus an embellishments. Okay, so that is how I pick my paper. And so then what I will be doing is just basically cutting them in half and spanning them across to the left and to the right. And then maybe playing with a little bit of some banners with this diagonal. That'll be pretty. And then, of course, I wanted to show one other thing, and I will come back with a finished page, because it's really just basically playing at this point, is that when you build a kit, and in this case, this is my kit contents, and I just saw something that caught my eye. That would be fun for a title. I don't know if I can do that. I don't even know what my title is going to be, but I like that. So anything that I know I want to play with, I will stick it here in my face on my desk. And then, of course, we're going to skip the doilies. I could get some distressing in. Why not? But then when this is my kit content, so anything that I see that I think I want to play with, I'll stick it on there. But then the other thing is, I am definitely playing with a little bit of a theme of nautical. So just because it's not in my kit, that doesn't mean I don't play with it. So I did go and grab 3 little nautical type travel things. So I have some brads from Cartabella, of anchors, of course, and these are basically all in the same little embellishment area in my bucket bin. So I thought I could play with that. That adventure really looks pretty, or getaway. So again, when you're building a kit, and you don't know what you're going to scrap, don't worry, because you can always go pull something. And I see a lot of people do that all the time, because how else would you do it? If you don't give yourself permission to go grab something or put something in your kit and you don't even play with it, then you feel kind of constricted. You feel that restraint. So I say play with it. And I did. I went and pulled some nautical, because why not? I want to play with them. Definitely with those color schemes. Oh, look at that navy braid. A navy braid. Navy anchors. I'm going to have fun with that. So that is how I'm going to start this page, with this lovely little getaway to the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, Maryland, back in 2007. I mean, look how little. Look how little my little one was. Isn't that something? Okay, so that's how I'm going to start. And I'm not going to have a sketch. You can see I'm just winging it, because I only have one piece of paper. There's not a lot of choices when you only have one piece of paper and you have to span it to the left and to the right. So you're working with 6 inches or less. So keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, so come back and we'll go for a ride. Absolutely. Hold on. I am back with my finished 2-page layout. And I was going to say the same thing I say all the time. I love how it turned out. And honestly, I think when you get to that point where you love your page, then you're done with your page. And so I ended up with a 2-page layout using 6 4x6 photos. And because I did use 6 4x6 photos, it really didn't take very long to do this, because that really is the majority of the landscape of my spread is 6 photos, and I love every one of them. So I'm glad I used all 6. And then of course with these photos already having the white border mat, that's really saved time. And then of course with my papers having so much color and already built-in design and pattern, this layout, this 2-page layout, took less than 40 minutes. It's just a very quick process. So of course you can see that for this Kaisercraft Vintage Botanical, that's about 5x12, and the newspaper print that's in the middle, that was about 4x12, and then this October Afternoon, this turquoise and blue paper, that really is from the sarsaparilla Western theme. I just thought it looked really well in this kit. And that's about 5 inches. And so then I just used that diagonal stripe to cover up the seams, and that's all I really did. I just wallpapered the back of my textured cardstock, and I did break out my distressor. I had that laying somewhere. I have everything laying somewhere. Oh my goodness. Because I want to show you a couple of things. I did break out my distressor, and I did a line up here at the very top and down here at the very bottom on the left and the right, and I just gave some distressing just to give it a little unexpected look. And then I did a little bit of paper tearing and paper folding, and I'll talk about that. But then with my photos being in that 4x6 size, I did not have to do a lot, because my paper did all the work for me. So my photos took up all the space, and then my papers, that was all the design. All I had to do was put a couple things on that. And so I played with the transparency that was part of my kit starter, and I wanted to show that. So for the kit starter, what I did last year when I went to order supplies is I ordered a transparency, and this was basically for photography and slides and frames, which means you can use it on about every layout, is that I just bought one 12x12 piece, and I've been using it all year long. Isn't that interesting? How you can really stretch something. So I started with this transparency piece in the back, and then I just took that Bow Bunny paper, and I absolutely did fussy cut a few of these frames, and I use those as layering pieces. So when I build up a cluster, I start with the biggest piece, and then I just build my way up, and I put the word travel, which I love that set. I absolutely love that set. And that came from Paper Studio at Hobby Lobby. You can still get this set. Wait till it's half off. It's Paper Studio brand. And look how many I used on one layout. It was just perfect, especially for that nautical travel theme. It was just perfect. Loved it. And I didn't have to add any extra adhesive. And that saves time as well. And then, of course, added an anchor, which that came from Paper Studio too. So let me show you that, because that is another one of those supplies. And when I shop for supplies, this is what I do. I will shop for supplies that I can get more than a couple layouts. And so with these anchors, oh my goodness, look how many layouts. Again, for like $1.25, you just simply can't beat that. But again, wait for Hobby Lobby having that Paper Studio sale. Absolutely. And so then I used that a piece of extra die cut here, and again, more of that epoxy, and then some word stickers, and I said Explorers, and some in those pink fresh enamel dots, which was again one of my kit starters for the year. And then over here on the right, all I did was the same thing. I just extended it in a different manner. So I started with transparency, Bow Bunny, those frame die cuts. I put the year 07, got some Brad enamel dots, and that adventure, I ran it down along the frame in a vertical sense. So something different. Even got in a couple Tim Holtz paper clips. I just clipped it right onto those die cut frames, and up here just extended that. And so then I really didn't have too much doing other than putting those papers down and doing some distressing at the very top and the very bottom on both, and then paper tearing. So all I did was simply take the paper, give it a little bit of a slit with my fingers, and folded it back. And then I took a portion of one of those frames and I cut it in half, and I just tucked it underneath there. You just need a small piece. I'll show you. You just need a small piece. And I put it there at the top, and over here on the right, I put it down here at the bottom. And it just gives you something unexpected. Now, some people will absolutely glue these flaps down. You could do that. I do glue this this frame piece that I use for my my peekaboo backer. I did glue that down, but I didn't glue these down because in the page protector, they're going to flatten on their own. But you can absolutely tear them. And if you don't like them flapping in the wind, you can just give them a little bit of a glue. So honestly, this page did not take very long. And my journaling is going to go over here on the right. And it's just going to talk about our weekend trip to the Inner Harbor, and it is absolutely going to be on this wood grain, and it's going to be tucked right underneath that photo and that embellishment cluster. I love how this makes all one big cluster. There's the date, there's basically a subtitle, and my journaling, and it's all connected. I love how that looks. I really, really do. And of course, use my hexagon punch and gave it a fishtail to go with that nautical mood and feel. So again, this did not take very long, but it simply was fun. I mean, I can't say anything more about it. And I mean, I think that's probably why after 2 decades, this is the longest hobby I've ever been involved in, because I still enjoy it to this very day. I have never had a dry moment in 23 years of scrapbooking because I love this, because I love photos, I love the stories, and then I love color, and then to put them all together, yeah, that's a winning combination. So as we showed in the last video, I had talked about leftovers. So I will again keep these. I mean, this is something else. Remember I said about those paper studio stickers and those anchors. When you can buy something and it can stretch for more than one layout, something like this type of pattern right here. You can fussy cut these frames, and look how many embellishments you get for 99 cents, which is a lot cheaper than an ephemera pack. Or what you can do is just, these are all in a linear fashion. You could cut a row, and if you don't do fussy cutting, you could use a whole row. I think that's upside down. You could use a whole row as an embellishment. And then the same way with that transparency. You can cut this up in so many different sizes, and you get a lot of mileage, is what I'm saying. And I will say that since supplies are going up, that is something I think as scrapbookers we're all going to have to pay attention to. Now, when it comes to paper, I think a lot of us have paper that we never have to worry about. But when it comes to embellishments, with them keep going up in price, I'm going to have to probably cut back buying embellishment packs or getting them on sale half off and relying on my punches and dies, because I won't pay $5 or $6 for an embellishment pack. No, because this is what I mean. I can get this for 99 cents, so I need to use my money a little more wisely. And of course, I love paper. I'm always going to have money for paper. Yeah, I'll do without shoes and handbags before I do without paper. And some of you know what I'm talking about. So I want to talk about leftovers again, because what could you do when you are playing with a kit or a page kit, and if you're inspired, and I love these colors. These colors were so fun to play with. You could absolutely just make another page or a base page. And so I wanted to show on the fly how quick it would be to make a base page. Now, of course, for a background, you could use something that you have in your kit. Ledger papers make for great backgrounds. Wood grain, wood planks make for great backgrounds. But I'm still playing with this kit, so I don't want to take those away from my kit just yet. So what I always do is I have a stack of papers by my desk at all times. It's with my white and ivory cardstock. And it is papers that I am not really crazy about. but I will use the back as a piece of white cardstock. And so it doesn't have any texture, but I will definitely use it because I won't use this. So I wanted to show with these leftovers, you know, a simple go-to design. And when you have those leftovers, and I said this in last week's video, play with these scraps the size they're in. And so of course I'm not going to use that Bo Bunny paper because it's still a nice size, but I still have this. I have a few of those left over. I have some transparencies left over. And what else do I have left over? I also have this border that was branding strip that was cut off. So when you continuously do this process, it's going to get faster and faster, and I think you almost become addictive to it because you really want to see how you can stretch those papers. And then for me, there are times where I get tired of putting things away, so I just go ahead and use them, and base pages is one of those things. So we have 3 pieces of paper. So of course I already did a layout that everything was horizontal. So basically, what could we do? Well, we could do the same thing, but I'm going to try to show a different option. We could do an L design. Now this will be coming up in the go-to design. I am working on that as we speak. And so we have 2 pieces of paper, and I do try to pay attention to which way my writing is. So we could build an L design, and that's what you could do. Simple L design. And then we could put the branding strip there. I always love covering my seams. If I have this diagonal, diagonals are just fun to play with. I think diagonals are a great accent pattern, but if I was using them as a whole. And then of course I could take these butterflies and I could use that branding strip. Now this is just a rough playing. But when it comes to your leftovers, and I'm going to try to do this again in next week's video as well, play with your leftovers. And you could leave them the size they're in, and you could give these some fishtails. You could make these a little shorter than 12 inches. And then what else do I have laying here? Well, I have some transparencies, Bo Bunnies. I still got doilies left over. So as I showed in last week's, you could just adhere this down, and this is a base page ready to go. You keep it by your desk or in an album and you use them. Or what you can go ahead and do is build another second layer, and you could play with embellishments. And so what do I have? I have some doilies. That's not hard. Plop it down. Okay. I mean, that's all this is. Honestly, that's all base pages is. Plopping things down. So I have some transparency pieces, and I have 2 Bo Bunny papers left over. I'm trying to see what else I have left over. And then you just play with your leftovers. So this transparency, and as I did in the layout, and the reason why this goes so fast is because you already are in that creative mode because you just created a layout. So the juices are still going. And so then this is the L design, and then I could come down here and layer this. Now this says everyday moments, but I'm going to cover up the word and just use the frame. I could even bring that over there. So there is a go-to design of the L design, which we will be talking about that very soon, using leftovers. This never gets old. I could do this all day. Someone just give me a pile of papers and an ATG gun. Yeah, and a cup of tea, and I'll be here for hours. I just love this. And as I said last week, when you have leftovers, this becomes second nature when you're playing with different shapes. So just keep doing it and keep doing it, and then you're just going to fall in love with it. And then, of course, you have them. When the creative juices aren't there, then you can just go to that base page album and you can play and do some quick layouts when the creative juices aren't there. You already have these to start with. And so again, look into Deborah's Facebook group. Those girls really rock the base pages over there. So that is what I want to show, another base page with leftovers. Maybe in next week's video, I'll do the same. And so again, you can also put clusters on your base pages. Sometimes I don't do that. It depends. But that is my 2-page spread for this week. Love it. Just love it. Of course, I love that color scheme. It's so pretty. And that Paper Studio sticker sheets and the anchors just all went so well today. It went together so well today. It really did. It was a quick page. So I love that. So come back next week. We will play with Kit Krunch again. But Kit Krunch next week will be Kit Flip, and I haven't even considered what that's going to be. Interesting. So come back for that. So close-ups will follow, and come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to do. Bye.